Peace, peace, everyone. This is your girl, Siquoyia Blue. Back here, another episode. This is the podcast where we challenge your perspective. Now, today I want to have a real conversation. Not a book review, not a movie review, but more of a mental walkthrough, a sit-down chat with ourselves about a story that's been on my mind. It's The Man in the Basement by Walter Mosley. And yes, I did watch the movie adaptation on Hulu. And let me just say, both had me in deep thought. Now, if you ever read Mosley, you know he's not just telling you a story. He's dropping you into a layered reality where race, identity, trauma, and power don't just exist. They twist around each other. In the book, we meet Charles Blakely, a black man who's kind of drifting through life, living in his family's inherited home, trying to outrun the shadows of his own past. And then comes Aniston Bennett, this wealthy white man with a peculiar request to rent Charles' basement. No explanation, no questions. And that's where the story really gets interesting. Mentally, emotionally, and historically. See, the book gives you layers the movie only hints at. And that's not a knock on the movie. I actually thought Hulu did a good job with the tone and intensity. But in the book, you really start to understand Charles' internal war, his trauma, his sense of inherited guilt, confusion, even rage. There's this quote from the book that stuck with me. There was a punishment inside me that I didn't remember committing. That's the thing. I think sometimes our brains could just put something in the furthest cortex of our brain to whereas you just don't even remember what the heck you did because you made yourself not remember it. I think the mind is a powerful tool. The mind is so powerful, y'all. I mean, I'm starting to realize that as I get older. And let's just pause on that. Think about how many people carry pain, carry guilt, carry self-punishment for things they never did or never fully understood. Trauma, especially racial trauma and familial trauma, can do that to you. You inherit a weight that you were never even trained to name. Yeah, trauma it ain't no joke. I mean, I don't think it necessarily ever goes away. I think it kind of can linger on. Even if you go see therapists and all that, they can help you figure out your thoughts and your past issues. But trauma is something that is just, it's going to be stuck there and it could be just stuck dormant and it just comes out whenever. And it's up to us in our mind to kind of handle it the way that we need to handle it. Now let's talk about Aniston Bennett. Because listen, this man is not just a character. He's a symbol, and not even a subtle one. He's the embodiment of white guilt, privilege, secrecy, and that unsettling truth that Mosley makes sure to lace throughout the book and movie. Behind closed doors, there is racism amongst the top whites. That line right there, man, that shook me. Because what it tells you is the power structures we think are polite, professional, progressive? Nah. Behind closed doors at the golf clubs and the boardrooms and the old money circles, the conversation is different. The power games are generational, and people like Bennett, they know what they're sitting on. Some feel guilty, others don't care. But either way, the silence is complicit. What I also found fascinating is how Mosley flips the dynamic. Bennett, this powerful man, wants to be locked away in a basement in a black man's house. It's symbolic as hell. The man who represents institutional power wants to hide from the consequences of that power and wants a black man to be the gatekeeper of his self-imposed punishment. But Charles, he's not just a landlord. He becomes a participant in this psychological experiment and what happens between them. It's not just about money or secrets. It's about the transference of shame and how even when the roles seem reversed, there's still an imbalance. The movie gave us those vibes, the tension, the claustrophobia, the psychological games. But the book was surgical. Charles is dealing with his own inherited pain, alcoholism, loneliness, disconnection from his legacy. And Mosley, that without making Charles a victim, he's flawed, but human, broken, but aware. There's another line from the book I want to share. You don't know what people are capable of until you lock them in a room with their own conscience. That's real. Because whether you're Charles, Bennett, or just the person listening to this podcast right now, we've all had moments where silence got loud, where memory turned into judgment, and where the walls started talking. So, what do we take from The Man in the Basement? To me, it's not about just race or guilt. It's about what we bury in our homes, in our minds, in our histories. It's about how trauma isn't always a loud scream. Sometimes it's a quiet deal made in the basement. And maybe, just maybe, we all need to ask ourselves, what have we locked away? And who are we asking to guard it? Thank you all for taking the journey with me. If you read the book or watched the movie, hit me up on socials. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're new to Walter Mosley, go dive in. This man's pen is something else. Don't forget to like, follow, and share the Blue Alchemist podcast. Please write reviews and share this. It keeps me going in the algorithm. And we got some more deep dives coming up and challenging your perspectives and unconventional. And until next time, stay curious. Peace.